Hey guys, it's Kit. I'm sitting here editing this and I'm going to do the giveaway. So these are all the names that entered the contest. If you're just listening to this, there's about a dozen names or so on here. So I'll just put everybody's name in this random name picker. It's kind of like the Price is Right, but instead of prices, it is the name is right. So there's a bunch of names on the wheel. So I'm going to click here and spin it, and then that'll be our winner for Jeff's Jigs. Oh, Dan Esterline, big fan of the show. Appreciate you guys listening and being part of this. But congratulations to Dan. I'll reply to your comment and I'll send you a message too. So yeah, congrats, and hope you guys enjoy the episode.
Thank you for joining us at Beerfish Fanatics, and this episode is actually brought to you by Whisker Seeker Tackle.
So make sure you guys go to whiskerseeker.com for all your catfishing gear.
Enjoy the episode, guys.
Oh, you guys test the mics already?
No. Oh.
Sounds pretty good, I think.
Oh, man.
Wait.
Check. Oh, yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
I like
Derek?
Oh, okay.
Check.
Hey.
Yeah, you're like really loud, Gord.
Check.
How about that? Is that better?
I think so.
Check.
Dick?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
I think we're good, right?
I think so.
Okay, I had to turn mine way down just because of me. But,
Yeah.
Yep. All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Beerfish Fanatics Grandy with Mop Fishing, Mop Sports. We got
Kit with Fishing Kit.
with Fishing Kit. It's not Fishing Kit YouTube channel no more?
It is.
Come on.
I've edited my first video in like a month.
Well, that's good.
Are we still back? Are we still back like a year or so in video footage?
That means he had so much. You had so much
know.
footage that you didn't have to freaking edit for how long?
Like a month.
It must be nice.
I got 2 more weeks, and then I got like 3 or 4 ice fishing videos I need edit, but there's plenty of time for that.
There you go. So today we're actually on site, guys. We're trying to swing by old sponsor Firetrucker. However, I was told because a huge rag bri. If you guys don't know, it's a big cycling event here that happens in central Iowa. And there were thousands and thousands of people here in Ankeny yesterday, and they pretty much bombarded their tap room. So the manager told me, he goes, I know you guys want to record. I apologize, but they are actually cleaning up all the mess from previous days of all the bike riders, they said. So today we are actually downtown at the infamous Peachtree Brewery. So
Is it downtown?
this is there.
Oh yeah,
This is downtown.
Court Avenue.
This is downtown.
Oh.
Yeah, for
Well,
sure.
okay, East Village.
East Village.
Sorry, geez.
East Village is
if
still
you're not from
downtown, right?
yeah, I consider it downtown.
I think it's just a little branch off downtown.
Yeah.
Exactly. Sorry, I mean if you want to be correct.
And then Ragbri, they just passed through Des Moines yesterday.
Yeah.
So it's a ride that they go across the whole state.
Yep. It's one of those if you're not into biking, or if you are into biking, it's one of those things that people come from all over the world. I mean, there's people from Australia here. Even my wife said there was a guy who actually got heat exhaustion, and he's from Australia. He was camping at Waterworks, and he had heat exhaustion. He got dehydrated, and they had to take him to the hospital yesterday.
That doesn't shock me. This is the worst week to have Ragbri of all the weeks.
It's
And I
like-
mean, even if you're from a hot climate, I would imagine the humidity is probably just at a different level, unless you're from somewhere with a very similar humidity. But even for Iowa humidity, I feel like this week in particular has just been so heavy.
Yeah, this week has been rough.
This morning was palpable.
You
like how
can, you
humid
can,
it was.
You can feel the
This-
heaviness of the air.
This is what happens when I go outside because I wear glasses. It completely fogs my glasses up whenever I go outside right now. Even right now, before I came here, it's like I couldn't see shit. It's like, what the heck? I had to wipe my own damn glasses off. So
That's how you know it's humid.
Yep, pretty much. But if you guys are wondering, that voice sounds familiar. That is Mr. Derek with 515 Fishing. He's joining us here. Welcome, Derek.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it. It's always fun to join you.
Cheers,
Yeah,
guys.
cheers.
I'm drinking the cold. It's called a cold IPA. This is it's a new beer that they had on tap here at Peachtree, so I'm trying that one out. Today I had steak with the kids. I am really pushing this gout. I'm taking it to the limits today. I'm testing it out. My holistic approach has been working. So today tomorrow we're gonna find out if this is.
Did you go sirloin or T-bone, ribeye?
Ribeye, baby.
Man, always ribeye steaks.
I had to sous vide it too. So the kids, that's the only way they eat is sous vide ribeye steaks.
Oh my God.
Welcome to my world.
Actually, I sous vide New York strip last weekend. That was pretty good.
See?
What does that mean? Sous vide?
When you so it's a French way of cooking, protein, meats. You can do chicken, you can do steaks, whatever. So what it is like you're cooking the meat inside of a plastic bag and you put it in water. So you raise the temperature of that water to a specific temperature. So it cooks it completely even. It soaks it in.
So it's like steaming it almost?
No, because I wouldn't even say it's boiling it because so let's say steak, right?
Yep.
Yeah. What's medium rare? About 155, 160-ish? 160,
130?
135?
I have no idea. I just look at it and go, yep, that looks medium rare.
Because that's the temp I set for my sous vide machine for medium rare steak.
I got the girls, so I had to cook it a little bit more fully done. But what do you do is, you set the temperature of the machine, and that water gets you that specific temperature. So like you're saying, 129, right? Let's just say, right? Yeah. So you set it that water stays at 129 the entire time. So then that's when you put the Ziploc bag of your meat, you want to be as airtight as possible, right? And you dip it in that water and you leave it in there an hour, 2 hours, if regular ribeye steak, whatever. And the longer you leave it in there, the more tender it becomes. But the best part of it completely cooks the entire piece of meat thoroughly at exactly that temperature.
Yeah, you can never overcook
Yeah.
something in sous vide unless you crank the temperature up.
Yeah.
So it's its own machine? Like
Yes.
it's designed just for that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
It's
Basically, it's a water circulator with a heater in it, and you
Yeah.
control the temperature.
Yeah, and like he just said, I literally leave my steaks on there for like hours because it completely tenderizes it for I would put the steak for maybe 2 hours.
Yeah.
And you can't overcook it because it's set at that specific temperature. It doesn't go above. It stays at there. So then you take it out, and then what I usually do is I pat it dry a little bit.
How do you know when it's done? You just you check the internal temperature of the meat?
No, because remember the meat, it's set that water is set for 130 degrees.
Right.
After about an hour, the entire piece of steak is 130 degrees. The
Right.
whole steak.
What if I would throw a whole chicken in there?
I think it gives you, if you look at it like how much time per poundage or whatever the meat
Okay.
is, how long you should keep it in there for. But think of it this way: if you're going to put a whole damn chicken in there, you probably cook it for a couple hours and you should be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you buy these at? Like Amazon? Or
Yeah, you can buy
Amazon, whatever.
What's it called again?
A sous vide.
SOUS and then space VIDE, sous vide machine. And the thing is on these, I think I'm going to start doing this is fish. You can do fish too, because you can do fillets of fish and then you can sous vide it. It's a healthier way to cook it.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to start doing this with the fish and just kind of try it out. And then the cool thing is you marinate it inside of the Ziploc bag first. So then it enhances the flavor, it gets inside that meat because you're literally soaking it in there. I'm telling you, for some reason, sous vide steak, I can't go back. I can't go back to a regular. The only other steak I will eat is smoked. So I do a reverse seared when I smoke the steak first and then I sear it. But and then after the sous vide, once you take it out, you have to sear it to give it that crust.
I wouldn't go as far as to say I wouldn't go back to just buying a steak, put salt and pepper, throw it on the grill.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go that far.
I don't know, man. I've had steak. I throw it back on. It's still good, but it's just not the same. For some reason, the sous vide is.
See, I don't know that I'd be patient enough because I've done the reverse sear and I really like that, but to me it's not good enough. The difference isn't wide enough for me to just go out to the grill, slap it on there for 4 minutes each side, and say that's good.
Oh, it makes it. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to we can agree to disagree.
Because even a reverse sear, you're still doing that for
True.
A while.
But the thing is, with the sous vide, it's so evenly cooked. There's not a one on the right side is a little too raw, or the left side is way too well done. If you said, like you say, if you're medium
have you
rare
ever
guy,
thought maybe it's just the cooker's skills?
It's a possibility, but you can't.
I mean,
I
I grill a pretty evenly cooked steak. It's pretty good.
I bet you. I bet you if I sous vide it, mine will be way
It
more
might
evenly
be.
than yours.
I've never tried one, so I can't.
You can't mess it up really. I mean, unless when you're gonna char it, I guess that's where you can mess it up.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're searing it for like over a minute on one side, you're searing it for way too long.
Yeah. Agreed.
So,
But anyways.
or you're not using enough heat.
Yeah, that's true too. But I don't know, man. I'm just partial to it. My kids don't eat steak any other way. I tried it, like you say, throw it on the grill and give it to them. They're like, no, this is too chewy, Dad. They're like, nope, can't do it.
I feel like a new segment of the show should be like a little how you cook this dish.
I think you guys are being a little extra over there.
Whatever.
We can bring in some sous vide steak and we can sample it up a
Non-sous
little
vide
bit.
steak is too chewy. Okay.
Hey, it is for some people. I will still eat it. Don't get me wrong, but I'm telling you, I don't know, man. If I'm going to eat a good ribeye steak, I might as well get it sous vide and cook.
If I got
Perfect.
time, I'll do it. I mean, I ain't gonna sit here and argue against it, but if I got time, I'll do it. But if I got, half an hour, I'm okay with just taking it out, throwing it on the grill or pan real quick.
I get it, but I'm just saying that's the only way my girls will eat the steaks. Is what it is.
Apparently you too, since you can't go back.
That's true. I'm not gonna lie. I am a little bit of a snob now when it comes to the steak. Like when I eat it, it has to be sous vide. I mean, it
So
doesn't.
you can't eat steak at a restaurant. Then.
I have never ordered a steak at a restaurant ever since I started sous vide. The only other steaks that I will eat is when I smoke it and then I reverse it because I love that smoke flavor.
Yep.
But then I slow smoke it at 200 degrees or actually I put like 175. Wait till it gets to a certain internal temp, and then I just sear it. Just to get the smoke flavor. That's the only other one. But yeah, I have not ordered a steak ever since I freaking sous vide steaks.
I never really typically ordered steak in a long time at a restaurant. Because, man,
It's pricey.
well, never mind. One, it's spicy, and it never comes out exactly how I want it.
See? And that's the whole point of sous vide. It comes out cooked perfect every time.
I'm gonna have to try it.
All right. Sorry,
Never
guys.
had it, so I can't
Went on a
say anything
tangent.
against it.
But
It's never been, like, worse than a regular steak, if
True.
you ask me.
Yeah.
It's never been worse.
never been worse. I've never messed it up.
Is it a huge difference? You could argue.
So do you season
if
it before you
is or
throw
not.
it in the bag? Then?
Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, you can put like butter in there, but I usually put like garlic, secret spices here and there, to kind of give it a good kick. Yeah, I don't know. I got it from whoever. They give me some secret spice. They say it's a secret spice, so I throw it on there a little bit, sous vide it, and then when you pan fry, put some butter and some rosemary. Oh God, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Once it's ready,
There.
it's so good.
All right.
But I can eat steak the old-fashioned way too. I'm not like gourds over there.
Oh, come on, man. But anyways, I am going to test my gout today, having steak and drinking craft beer. But it's like I said, it's been knock on wood. I've been doing pretty good. It's been staying away, and I've been able to actually get out and fish a little bit here and there, too. So that's always a good
Is
thing.
that GoPro recording? Shouldn't there be a red light?
I don't know. Go take a look real quick. Yeah.
I don't see a red light.
Here, let me go take a look. It's recording.
Oh.
Number's still going.
Okay. Usually there's like a little indicator.
I wonder it's because I plugged in the external battery. Maybe that changes it up a little bit. I don't know.
Oh, it should still. I don't know.
I agree. It's GoPro, man. Who knows? This episode could be just audio only now, obviously.
Which is fine.
Works for me. But,
I think that's how it was the last time I was on. I might just be like a.
oh yeah, that was
maybe,
with you.
Maybe I'm like a ghost or something.
That was with you and Butters.
Oh yeah, because I couldn't get the it kept corrupting or something.
Yeah, maybe I just,
Technology. Nah, you should be fine. I hope. Knock on wood now.
supernatural stuff going on.
He's so powerful.
Yeah, that's
His
right.
aura so powerful that he will shut off any
disrupts the video.
any video. They like, no, this guy's just too good. Can't be on video.
Did we talk about what we're drinking yet?
No,
Just
it's
Grandy.
me. I had the Code IPA. What do you got, Kit? Or-
Oh, I had the get a little hazy
Yeah, a little
hazy
hazy.
IPA.
What did you get?
I had the blood orange ale. It's gone.
Yeah. Well, I wanted.
Must have been good.
It was pretty solid. Yeah, can't complain.
We'll do a quick refill here in a minute, but Actually, you want to do a refill before we continue? It's okay.
I mean,
You guys can
kids
refill.
like 2 drinks.
I
into
just
it.
started.
Was. All right, we're going to do a quick refill. Me and Derek, and we'll be right back, guys. All right, everybody. We are back. Refilled and ready to rock and roll. I'm doing the little. I saw Kits. I'm doing the little hazy IPA now.
Get a little hazy.
Little hazy.
I'm rocking the Orange Goose, the OG, the sour.
Cheers, guys. Sorry.
I wonder why you got a different cup than me.
Because I went a pint. That's a 12-ouncer.
Oh, dang. Thirsty.
I am thirsty. But we're just talking offline, guys. If you guys, when this episode comes out, hopefully this is not the case, but Fishing Kit and myself are trying to sell our kayaks. So if you guys are listening, if you guys are looking for pedal kayaks, I have a tandem pedal kayak. Fishing Kit has a Hobie pedal kayak. Hopefully by the time this episode comes out, this is a mute point, because that means we moved our kayaks. But we are looking to sell our kayaks because homie over there is upgrading.
Kit told me it's a 2-for-1 special too.
Two for one special. So
Just playing.
so definitely message us, and hopefully, like I said, hopefully this is a mute point. But if not, we are trying to move our kayak. So let us know if you guys are interested.
You want
Are you
to,
buying a skeeter or?
something like that. You want to get into why you're selling your kayak?
Well, the real story. As
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
what's going on with me?
Yeah.
All right, so we might.
I mean, it
Is this a tearjerker?
no. When this episode comes
yeah,
out,
it might have happened.
It might have
already.
happened. So the main big reason, well, not the main reason, but a big reason why I am selling that yak is because I am officially 99.999% moving to Colorado.
Oh wow!
Probably by the time this episode comes out.
Wow.
So it's in the works. I'm trying to move some stuff at the house right now. I'm still probably going to keep the house and everything here, and then, but it just makes sense to go to Colorado a little bit so my kids can at least hang out with the grandparents on their mom's side a little bit. So they're getting older. They came to visit us last week or 2 weeks ago, and they're getting older. I feel like my kids have been here for 10 years, a decade now. I was looking the other day, a little bit over a decade. So I'm like, I think it's time for them to go to Colorado, learn, meet. I wouldn't say meet them, but at least hang out with the mom's side a little bit more. So, but then and then I can go and learn a little bit more about lake trout and all that shit.
So, are you going to be trout fishing? If Mom Pop Fishing is going to be fishing for trout after talking so much smack about trout for so long?
I think so. I mean, well, they don't have anything else they keep saying, right?
Arctic char.
I'm going to find out. because I'll talk to some people. But according to my in-laws, they have to drive 5 hours just to catch certain species.
Just to go catch some crappies.
Yeah. I don't believe that shit, but we'll see. We'll see because
I would take Colorado over Iowa any day. In a heartbeat.
See, but that's the thing, because my in-laws are like, all they do is fish for trout because there's no other species. And when there is, let's just say the crappies are biting, they say the pressure gets so ridiculous within the first week that by the time you get out there, you have to, like you were saying, you have to drive 5 hours just to go catch crappies for some reason. I don't know. Is there I don't know. I haven't looked at their population. Is there a population of fishermen that much more than us? I don't know. That may be something to look into, but
I think trout's a big draw of Colorado, though.
100%. But they have freshwater shit that you can fish for, like.
Yeah, but it's like huge part of their tourism.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So there's a lot of money and funding that goes into trout in Colorado.
I think isn't there some lakes or some reservoirs in Colorado that have some pike in them as well, like as an invasive species?
Yeah, you got to kill all the pike you catch.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I heard. I was like, for real? I wasn't sure about that, but yeah, I heard some people like, that's crazy.
Trout's #1 in Colorado.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
They don't give a shit about anybody else. They go trout, keep, everybody else kill.
If you get one of those tiger trout, those are pretty cool.
Yeah,
those are pretty cool.
They do have a reservoir up there that has some monster wipers, guys. There's a reservoir within like an hour distance of my brother-in-law's in Denver area. I mean, if you could probably Google it. It's Jackson Reservoir, I believe. People be catching double-digit wipers out of there.
Their state record's like 20. I don't want to say the number because it's probably gonna be wrong. I want to say it's like 24 pounds.
Wow.
It's big.
Dude.
Do you know the state record wiper for like every state that has one?
No.
Because I feel like you mentioned the state record wiper for Kansas at one point too.
I probably
I
have.
feel like
think
you've
you
got
have.
those memorized.
I think the Kansas one was pretty big too.
Is the Iowa one right at 20?
just short of 20.
Short 20.
It's
high
like
19.
19
19.
and I don't know, 12 ounces or something.
Shout out to my uncle. He still holds that record.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's
nice.
my uncle. Yeah, he still holds that record.
And I'm hoping that's like the state record that I want. I mean, I'll take any state record.
You can get the orange. You can get the orange spotted sunfish pretty easily.
Well, you do have the state record for shad.
Gizzard shad.
Gizzard shad.
Wow.
He never turned it in. He cut it up for bait.
Yeah, technically,
I'll blame him.
technically there is no official state record for shad.
Yeah, he would have had it.
But-
And I don't think anybody would have broken it. That's
Yeah.
the crazy
Well,
thing.
I think that's how the orange spotted sunfish works too. Is I don't think anybody ever takes the time to submit them because it's like they're so small.
Yeah,
They're like,
tiny.
or they don't know what it is. You know, they just assume it's some sunfish, and so like, oh, whatever. But even yellow bass. I mean, yellow bass. That state record is probably broken every week up at Creel Lake. I mean, I think the yellow bass record right now is like 12, maybe.
Inches?
Yeah.
Inches?
Yeah.
Well, no.
It-
Yeah.
Well,
They go by poundage.
Iowa goes by pounds.
Yeah.
And I think,
Right.
I think it's like 3 pounds, though.
No,
Yeah.
it's not.
Dude, I'm
No.
telling you.
Oh.
No,
It's got to be.
Let's
All right.
Google
All right,
it.
you guys can Google this.
We got these things in our
No way.
pockets.
Go ahead, you guys go. And then the thing is, if you guys are wondering, is Fishing Kid and myself still going to be recording? Yes. Most likely, I'm going to try and come back here because, obviously I still have family here. So I will be back here. So we'll record episodes at least once or twice a month. Oh, by the way, if you guys are wondering, we're going to start releasing 2 episodes a month now, guys. I know we were thinking of doing 1 episode a month, but we plan on releasing at least 2 episodes a month so you guys can get a little extra love of the BFF.
Okay.
Fellas. All right, what we got,
I
Kit?
kind of doubled what the state record
Yeah.
1.5?
Hey, that's what I'm
is.
saying.
1.5. 1.5
Actually,
pounds.
3 pounds is a pretty big yellow bass.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about that too, but that's a pretty.
Where'd you show that it was from?
Mine says it's from Lake Manawa.
Yeah, 14 and a half inches.
That's a big yellow bass. Holy shit! So if you guys don't know, yellow bass do not get bigger than about a 10, 11 inch yellow bass
14
is
and a half
huge.
is a monster.
Yeah, that's a monster, dude. People were catching 12-inch yellow bass up at Clear Lake. I think a year or 2 ago. Those were enormous. Like I've never seen anything like that for yellow bass.
The world record is 3 pounds. I think that's where
Okay.
I got
Okay.
it mixed up.
That's still a pretty.
Well, Kevin Paul caught a hybrid there a year or 2 ago. That was a freak. It was like a hybrid yellow, hybrid white.
How
It
do you
was
tell?
huge.
It has a tint of yellow, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because
I don't know what.
How do you tell the difference between?
I don't know what he did to check, but it was it was a freak. So I think that's why he assumed it wasn't just a pure yellow.
Does yellow bass have 1 or 2 tongue? in
on
there?
the patch. On
Yeah,
the,
I don't
on the
know.
tongue?
Or can you even tell at that?
I don't know.
They're probably too small at that stage.
I mean, usually when you catch a yellow bass, there isn't like, oh, man, is this a white bass or is this a yellow bass?
Yeah, right.
Or is this a striper?
Right.
That's true.
Yeah. No one's out there questioning if it's a yellow bass or not. I guess if you caught a hybrid, then you might be like,
Yeah.
So I just wanted to give you guys a quick shout out to Jeff, Backyard Bait Shop. He did message me because he was listening to one of our podcasts. I don't think we ever answered the question, like, hybrid striped bass, how big did they grow? I think we always talk about it, but he actually has the information. He actually messaged me the chart of a hybrid striped bass, how much they grow. So just so everybody knows, I think this is probably maybe about 10, 20 episodes ago we talked about this. Actually, we talked about
like
it.
a growth chart, like how
Yes.
big they should be at a certain age.
Yes. So he said hybrid striped bass age chart. So at 1 year old, if you guys are wondering, they're about 6 inches. 2 years old, they're about 12 inches. 3 years old, they're about 15 inches. 4 years old, they should be approximately about 18 inches. 5 years old, 20 inches. 6 years old, 25 inches, and that's about it because their average lifespan is about 6. I mean, if no predators get to them, 6 to 7 years.
6 to 7 years.
So this is the thing. Everybody has that harvest
Here he goes.
hat. Yeah, we're talking. We're
Derek,
bringing this
Derek
shit
knows
up.
about this.
Here he goes.
We're going to bring this shit
Derek
up.
knows,
We're
knows
bringing
this
this
all
shit
too
up.
well.
So, but And so everybody knows, if you catch a hybrid striped bass, that's 25, let's just say 22 to 25 inches, right? Most likely they're at the very end of their life cycle, okay? I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not saying do you within legal limits. So just so you know, they're almost at the end of their life cycle. Whether you release them, it doesn't matter because they do not reproduce, as we all know. So how do you guys feel about the harvesting of big wipers now, or hybrid striped bass?
It
after knowing that info?
doesn't change anything for me.
Okay, I'm just asking. I just want to know what you guys, because
that sounds like a plead the fifth answer right there.
Because there's a lot of people who like.
Do you want my honest opinion?
Honest opinion.
I don't like it.
If I catch a 24-inch wiper, knowingly it probably won't live another year, maybe two. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I wanted to keep. Or it doesn't even have to be me. Just I'm going to keep it.
Yep.
Just why should I release it if knowingly it's going to go in? I'm playing devil's advocate. By the way,
yeah. No, I definitely I'm not to the point to where I would like scold you in person. Like if I was fishing next to you on the shore and you caught that fish and you wanted to keep that fish, I would just keep on fishing and say, you do you.
Uh-huh.
In the back of my mind, would I be thinking that blah 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 guy? Yeah. I mean, I probably would. I think for me, take away the age and what we think they live and all that, all that stuff, which I'm not arguing whether that's factual or not. I agree that it is. I think for me, at the end of the day, for wipers in particular, the most joy comes out of catching that fish because of the fight, the power, the strength, the game fish aspect of it. I personally believe they don't taste great. I know that's a debate as well, and it all comes down to how you clean, how you cook. Mm-hmm. And I think that definitely gives you better options, but I think generally speaking that they don't taste as good as a lot of other fish do. Therefore, I personally believe if you got a 24-inch fish, even if it has 6 months, 3 months, a year, 2 years, whatever it has, let it go, it's earned that right to live that extra time frame. And for me, for a wiper, I would rather me personally come back to catch that fish or somebody else. Now, just like any fish, wipers in particular fight really hard, and sometimes they build up a lot of lactic acid in their bodies, and so sometimes letting a big one go or reviving it might not be possible. To me, that's a whole different scenario. But to go take out a keg and say I'm going to throw in 10, 15, 20 wipers that are 20 plus, once again, not a limit. That's every angler's prerogative. Would I say anything in person? No. I just wouldn't do it.
Would you guys all agree keeping fish is fine?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fine.
It's the amount you keep. Is that where you guys would see an issue?
It depends.
Okay.
For me, it's a really gray area because conservation of fish it differs so much from body of water, state to state, species to species. It's hard to throw one answer to that. But crappie, for example, right? I mean, there's a 25 limit on crappie. Does that mean you should keep a 25 limit of 14-inch crappie? I don't think so, but it's still within your legal limit to do so. Mm-hmm. Do I have a problem with you keeping 25 9-inch crappie? Nope. Do I have a problem with you doing it every single day for 2 weeks? Yeah, especially since your position limit should be different. But it really just depends on the body of water too. Like, we have some reservoirs, Sailorville, Red Rock, other bodies of water that can sustain a lot more pressure than the Ankeny ponds, than smaller bodies of water. Even Big Creek's not a huge body of water. So when you start taking out good genetics and what I consider trophy fish on a regular basis because you're on a hot bite, there is some give and take there. You might have a great year in 2022 and really capitalize on a great year class, but then the next 2 years you might see the negative side effects of that because now you're catching 12 inches rather than 14. And I think that's just one example. And I'm not somebody to say like don't ever keep fish, because I do think there's also the other side of the argument of where you have to keep fish so there's not an overpopulation and a fighting for food source. So there's some give and take to both sides. I think it's doing it responsibly is kind of where I go to.
I think, but okay, so the thing is, you were talking about is crappies. I can understand that. Same thing with almost any other species that reproduce. But if we talk about wipers, so that's why
Sure.
I'm just curious because what you guys...
Because they're sterile.
Yeah, because they're sterile. So there's no passing on genetics. So I'm just throwing it out there. So we see, because we've seen fishermen go out there and they keep coolerfuls of... Are we a little bit jealous that they're keeping that many? And because hoping that
I'm never jealous of somebody that keeps a cooler full of 10-pound wipers.
Yeah.
I'm never jealous of them.
I wouldn't say jealous, but would you be like...
Like, I could go out and keep a cooler of wipers,
But so that's what I'm asking you, though, because those 10-pound wipers most likely are near the end of their lifespan.
Maybe
But
they're not.
But your grandfather caught a 19-pounder, right? You tell me
My
that.
uncle-
You
my
tell
uncle
me.
did.
You tell me.
Or if
You
he
tell
did.
me that
So-
19-pounder was never caught once in its
Yeah.
life.
19-pound.
I mean, I find
mean,
it hard to. I mean, it's possible. It definitely is.
I don't know.
But that 10-pounder never has a chance of making it to 19 pounds now, whether it has a year or 3 months to go. The only way you're ever going to catch that state record is by letting some fish go, whether they're sterile or not sterile.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm not saying I'm not disagreeing.
But at the
I'm
same-
just saying because I know what the other side will say. It's like, it's, you know what, it's my prerogative, it's within my limits.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then on top of that, why am I hating on if I'm following the rules? And then on top of that, this fish is sterile. This fish is going to be dead within the next year. That's
Yeah.
what they're, I mean, that's coming from a person who kept, a whole cooler full. I'm just saying that's
I don't think
their
somebody
argument.
keeping a cooler full is thinking that much about it.
Probably not.
They're
They
not.
could care less.
Yeah.
That's the
and
reality.
I think there's a difference between berating someone and trying to help, trying to at least express a different point of view, right? Like you can still express your feelings and do it in a respectful way, or maybe even try to educate. But when you like you said, hating, if you're just berating somebody, that's where it's uncalled for, because like you said, it is still within your right to keep that fish.
Yeah.
But on the same token, it's also within your right to keep a 45-pound flathead. Do I think that's ethical? No, but that's one person's opinion.
Yeah.
Right. For some guys, that is a fantastic harvest for their family, for themselves, for whatever. Right. Or it's their trophy, and they want to do whatever they want to do with that fish. Do I get depressed when I see a 45-pound flathead or bigger harvested? Yeah, I do. But that's because I know how hard it is to get that fish.
What if it's me that caught that I never flathead fish, and I'm like, the fish of a lifetime, my family loves to eat fish. Is your viewpoint still the same with that person that kept that fish?
I'm like, I hope you really like catfish, because you're probably going to get like 30 pounds of meat off of that thing.
And what if I said, yes, I love my family loves catfish.
In your scenario,
But-
you just expressed a scenario though where you're not typically fishing for that fish.
No.
This is a once in a blue moon
Yeah.
harvest. That's different than guys going to set out diddy pulls or bank pulls every weekend.
Different call, yes.
And
yes.
that fish has been fighting on that line all night, and regardless of its size, you're harvesting it. Right? I mean that. And I think the other thing with wipers is like, I think that the fact that they're sterile is a really strong arguing point for the side of harvesting them, which is fair. I think the one thing that kind of frustrates me is that there's not some sort of a limit on them. And I understand why, because they're not a native reproducing fish, so I understand that. But at the same time, they're stocked for forage control, right? And I don't think anybody would argue that they're not one of the best fish, if not the best fish to catch in our state in terms of fight and power, pound for pound.
Everybody says it's the closest to ocean fishing.
So,
that you
I
can
mean,
get
in order
Iowa.
to maintain that attractiveness of that fish, you have to preserve that species, and you have to preserve the trophy class or the prime class for fighting. Like when you look at the Big Creek year classes, they're right in a prime. You get 21s to 24s, perfect fighting fish, and they're not like overly huge. But man, they're all 5, 6, 7 pounds, and they're all just a blast to catch. If you want to maintain that, you still have to responsibly harvest them. So
I'm not disagreeing. A lot of people would be like, well,
So how do you feel?
about harvesting the wipers now after
Yeah.
knowing the information that I
Yeah.
know.
Does it change how you feel?
I mean, I don't get to go fishing that often. And when I do, I harvest a certain amount. This is the thing. I get to a point where I don't want to clean so much fish. I want to clean just enough to feed my family. And I don't, and wipers suck after they're frozen. So
Yeah.
you eat those, it's a type of fish in my eyes that you catch whatever you're going to catch. As long as you eat that within the day or two or whatever, in my eyes, I'm going to do that. How large, if I caught, like, let's just say if I went out and I didn't catch shit and I caught a freaking 15-pound wiper, am I keeping it? I probably will. And the reason why? Because I am going to feed my entire family with that one fish. Now, if I were to catch 20 10-pounders, which will probably never happen in my lifetime, would I keep them all? Probably not. And the reason being is it has nothing to do with will I consume them all or not. It has to do with they taste like shit. There's no way I can eat 20 10-pound wipers, right?
Right.
And when you freeze them, they're not tasting as good. So
a lot of red meat in there.
yeah, and then it's just a lot of work cleaning fish. So how do I feel? I think it's more of the, like you're saying, the fishermen that go on a daily basis and fish and are good, and they know they can catch these mass amounts of large wipers. They keep a whole cooler full. That's just my train of thought. If people keeping a whole cooler full, my thing is I see freezer burn. I see nothing but freezer burn.
And we're talking a cooler full, but what about the guys that do it weekend after weekend? Cooler full this weekend, cooler full next week, and cooler full
Some
third
guys do
weekend.
it day to day.
Right.
It's reality.
I mean, how do you feel about guys from Minnesota? Because that's a reality coming down,
100%.
knowing that there's not a limit and taking advantage of that potential.
I mean, it's within their rights.
Right.
As long as they pay for their licensing and everything.
Right.
I mean, I hate on it a little bit because I'm like, man, you mofos, you guys, 10,000 lakes up there. What the hell you guys coming down to get our shit for? That's my thoughts.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
at the end of it, I mean, I would love to catch a double-digit wiper. I haven't yet. And I feel like people keep coming down here taking our shit. No, I'm just kidding. But it's within their rights. I'm not going to put my moral whatever high ground on anybody else. So if they want to keep it, that's fine, as long as they pay for their licensing. It sucks sometimes when I see them. I think it's more jealousy because I don't get to go out and fish as much. So when I see somebody post a picture of a cooler shit, I'm like, you mofo, I would love to catch one of those. And I probably would release it in reality because I'd be so damn excited I caught a double-digit freaking wiper. I'd probably release it because knowing that I've been trying for so long.
Yeah, and I don't want to badmouth the DNR at all because I think they do good work. I think if there's anywhere I would want to put pressure, it would be on organizations like that or the state to tighten our limits or to even put some sort of limit on there because I feel like we have several examples of species that if we change some slots or if we tightened up limits, we would see the fruits of that. I think a good example is if you go up to Minnesota, especially in the northwest region, a lot of those lakes for panfish, their limits are 10 fish, and they even have slots on some of those panfish. And as a result, you've seen a lot of trophy fisheries up in that region because of that. And I guess for me personally, I fish for the sport rather than the food side of it. Do I still keep some fish? Sure. And everybody fishes for their own reasons. But because of that reason, I want to pursue those trophy opportunities. So that would be what I would advocate for. But I could see somebody totally on the other side of the spectrum saying, hey, when I go out to fish, I go out to feed myself, my family, my friends, whatever. And so I could care less about whether that fish is 7 inches or 17. So every person's a little bit different. I will say that the one thing that also is good, bad, or indifferent, especially with social media, is sometimes I think those cooler full pictures or the table full pictures, that's an ego thing, not a feeding thing.
100%.
Right? Like that's not a
For sure.
I need to fill my freezer for me or my family. That's a This picture of this table full of 20 crappies looks a lot cooler than me holding one crappie.
Yeah, look at me. I caught all these fish.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I throw in there that I caught him in 30 minutes. You know, that's like the extra layer, which we know is all probably not true. But like somebody will throw out that super exaggeration of like, look at these 35 fish that I caught in 10 minutes. Even they're like, I don't know if that's even mathematically possible. But, you know, they got to throw that in there.
Yeah, we can bitch and moan, but until we get enough people together and make a strong case to like put some kind of limit for wipers or white bass. Like for me, I just got to the point where if I see a cooler full of big wipers, I get annoyed. Sure, and I don't get so annoyed that I gotta comment on their post and like, hey man, you shouldn't keep these, throw these back there for X. You know, they stock them or they don't reproduce whatever. I just practice what I guess how I feel when I'm on the water. So if I go out there, catch a big 10-pound wiper, I throw it back.
Yeah.
Hey, even 5-pound wiper, 3-pound. I might keep a 2-pound wiper because, like you guys said, all that red meat.
I think like Grandy said, a lot of those guys that are catching double-digit wipers or just really big wipers and have a cooler full, like, there's probably not changing that mindset anyways because they already know. Like, they're good anglers. They know what they're doing. They know what they're catching. Like, their mind's already made up of where they sit in that decision and why they're keeping what they're keeping. And so it's not like they're noobs to angling,
Right. And I'm pretty sure some of them are doing it just to piss off people off.
100%. When you post continuously pictures of coolerfuls of fish,
well,
one, like you're saying, ego, because you love to get the likes and the people like, oh my god,
pat you on the back,
and then you're kind of feeding those haters a little bit. You like that too,
sure,
100%. Yeah, I think
stir the pot.
Yeah, I'm gonna rile these guys up.
Yeah, watch this.
I think the other X factor for the wiper topic is you got the sterility factor, right? Yeah. And the longevity in terms of lifespan, but I think the other fact is the how they fight. So I think if a wiper fought like a wet sock, people probably wouldn't be quite as upset about it. Like, it'd be like catching a bunch of I don't even know an example. I was going to say sheephead, but I know people say drum fight hard. I hate those things. But it would be like just catching a fish that doesn't fight good, right? And you're like, oh, hey, well, do what you want with those because, who cares? But because they do pull drag, because they are so fun, I think that's why people have some of that attachment issue with them of not wanting to lose them.
Yeah.
No. There's some passion behind it.
Yeah.
Speaking of their fighting, so I saw Derek post recently. Looks like you were out in the ocean, catching some nice true stripers. Yep. So, tell us about how that trip was. Compared the fight. How was it? What'd you use for bait? Where'd you go?
There's not a comparison really. It's just like, it's like taking a wiper and multiplying it by 10 in just terms of weight and power. So I was off Cape Cod. Out in the ocean. We're about 18 miles off the coast on a sandbar. So believe it or not, for being 18 miles off the coast, we're only fishing about 25 foot of water. The best part of this whole trip was that we were fishing spooks. So, spooks are about 8 inches or so, and just walking the dog on top of the waves and stuff. And so the blow-ups, unbelievable.
Were you guys like chasing birds and stuff?
Yeah, seagulls and squid and stuff like that. Yeah. So it was. It's hard to really put into words because it's so unique. But you'd see a fish blow up and throw that spook 3 feet in the air if it missed it. You would see a fish jump over top of it that was like longer than this table. Jeez. When they did hook up, they're just. They go just like a wiper does. That initial hit and run. But with the true stripers, you catch like maybe 3 fish in a row and then you need a break. Like with a wiper, they're a blast to get your adrenaline going, but you never feel like, okay, I got to take a break for a second. Like these guys wear your biceps and your shoulders out to where you're like, okay, like that was a blast, but like I need to recuperate for a second. Oh. Now we had an amazing day. I think we had our 4 biggest fish were all over 40 inches, and our top 4 fish were the 4 biggest fish the guy had on his boat in 50 trips that year.
Wow.
So I mean, we had an unbelievable day as it was. But yeah, I mean, it's really hard to compare them. I mean, they still do similar behaviors in terms of just pure power. When they hit like a truck and they go, but it's more just the pure weight.
Yeah,
you know?
because stripers, they got the weight advantage and the size advantage.
Yeah, like the biggest one we caught was 47 inches and 47 pounds, a pound per inch. I mean, it's just
Crazy.
and holding that fish. I mean, it took multiple people just to hold that fish up, horizontal.
Was it just topwater only?
Just spooks.
Really?
Yeah,
Crazy.
and we caught, I don't know, maybe 26 or so of them in like 3-4 hours time. So it was a blast. It was
Man.
awesome.
Well,
Yeah.
they say wipers are like the closest we get to or saltwater fishing
Yeah.
here in Iowa.
Yeah.
Midwest.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun, and it's one of those kind of bucket list things to kind of cross off the list of, like, I want to go catch a true striper and not have to repost about everybody's stripers that they've caught around here.
Yeah.
Did you guys eat?
Talking about things that annoy you.
Did you guys eat any?
Yeah. Actually, I believe it or not, I actually have some thawed out at home right now, and they're good. Super thick fillets, super thick flake. Pretty similar to most ocean fish.
Yeah.
How does it compare to like a wiper?
There's just not near as much red meat in the middle.
Oh, okay.
And the flake is just bigger. I think just naturally because it's a bigger fish. But yeah, I mean, saltwater fish in general, for the most part, unless you get an oily one, they just don't have a fishy taste. They just taste good.
Can you eat a striper sashimi, right? Can you?
I think people do.
Okay.
But they could get wormy and stuff too, though.
Oh, okay. Just like any other fish?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, people for some reason think that the reason why you should only eat ocean water fish, like as far as eating fish raw, it can only be ocean fish because they don't have worms. Well, ocean fish have worms too. It's like a misconception. But
I will say the one thing that was tough is you're out on the ocean and you're throwing top waters, and I think we're throwing I think it was medium powered stuff, and the waves. I mean, it just takes some getting used to throwing. You're on the waves, and then you've got the waves crashing. And a lot of times, what the stripers do is they would hit right at the apex of where the wave hits the water itself. Mm-hmm. It's kind of where they were. So you'd almost want to throw back into the waves as they're forming, and then really get some action as it hits, and that's where you get your big blow-ups.
Interesting.
And they really concentrate in one particular area, just like wipers do. Like when you see that big pool of wipers and they're all hitting the top water, I mean, you see some of that too. It's just the blow-ups are 4 or 5 times bigger.
man,
Damn. And it gets your blood pumping.
I bet. I mean, like even out on our lakes, when I hear, you can tell when there's a bigger wiper in there.
Oh, yeah.
I can imagine what like a 40-pound fish busting on top, like poof.
Yeah, we had one that jumped out of the water that I don't know if it was bigger than our biggest one, but when you see it from afar, you're like, oh my gosh, that was a shark. That was huge. So that was pretty sweet. The one thing that blew me away though is I'm assuming that this guide, he just does this, but I still don't understand it. So we use these spooks, right? So big old plastic thing with 2 giant trebles on it. And when we got the fish up to the edge of the boat, and these fish are longer than this table, these 2 tables together, he would not use a net. He would go down and grab the spook and lift the fish up.
From the spook.
Yeah.
What?
And I'm like, you are just begging for a treble in the hand or the face or whatever. And I even asked him, I said, how many hooks have you gotten? Oh, just one. I'm like, I don't know how, and I don't know like what. I never asked him why he doesn't use a net because I didn't want to insult him, because he's done this for 30 years. But I was just like, why does he not use a net? Like,
You should have asked him. He might have a reason.
He's a pro, man. He's a pro.
I would have scared. I mean, because you're like this. You're trying to go down there and these fish are. I mean, these fish are still active. Like they're not just laid over and kill me now. Like they're like trying to get loose and stuff. And I'm like, no thanks. So
I'd be a little scared.
But yeah, if anybody ever goes up to the Northeast, 100% recommend going out, trying that for the striped bass. It's an awesome awesome experience, and it's just cool to. I mean, the wipers are amazing here, but it's cool just to feel the purebred species, if you will, and experience that as well. So.
Yeah. I probably wouldn't go that far to go catch a striper, but Midwest striper is pretty realistic for me.
There you go.
You already got one off the list, don't
Yeah,
you?
I do have one off the
Must
list.
be nice.
It was a like freak accident, lucky suicide fish, as I would say.
Yeah.
I
I
wouldn't
remember that
say
video.
I wouldn't say that, man.
I mean, I was just reeling up
I-
so I could recast, so I was just burning it in, and
Yeah.
boom,
Yeah.
I swear to. Yeah, let's not talk about that trip for me.
suicide fish.
I saw mine at least, but I think that made it worse by seeing.
Yeah, sometimes
losing
you just
it.
don't want to see them.
I
Especially if it's a nice fish. Like, if it's a nice fish and you're not sure what it is yet, I'd rather not see it.
gotta go. I gotta
I don't
go
wanna see
redeem
it.
myself somehow. One of these days.
I think some of you guys already know, but when I get my boat, I'm gonna go target some Midwest stripers.
All right. Can I hop on?
Yeah,
All right.
meet me halfway because you'll be in Colorado.
There you go.
Touche. All right, let's go get a refill. These guys are empty. I do want to come back, so I do remind me before I don't remember. I do want to talk a little bit about 515 fishing, the forum and everything on Facebook, the group and everything, and also I want to hear your take on a lot of the haters.
Another hater topic.
Love it.
Yeah, Derek's the guy behind the scenes of 515 fishing. If you guys didn't know.
Yeah.
We'll be right back,
I love the
guys.
drama.
Yes, sir.
You're by and you're walking with your two-man shed. And you're like, you're about 60 feet offshore. You're like, I don't know if I want to go much further than this. And you look at your map. Oh, it's 4 feet deep. Hopefully there's some fish here.
Right.
We are back, refilled, ready to rock and roll. I got the Easy Eastville, or not Easy, the East Village.
East Village IPA.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what I got. Some sort of stout.
There you go.
It tastes kind of licoricey.
That'll do it.
Yeah, I got the red IPA. It's a little bit stronger. I looked at it earlier when I first got here. I was like, oh, I think we're gonna do something light because I just ate pasta, and then I graduated to a heavier beer.
But if you guys have not, make sure you guys swing by Peachtree. Shout out to them for letting us come here and record. Actually, I do like this back room. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like the barrels and stuff too. It's nice and quiet and kind of got
Yeah.
a cool look to it.
Did I say what? Did I mention why I was selling my kayak?
No, you didn't.
Nope, Granny did his, but
we
you didn't say
it.
we kind of know why I'm selling mine, but why are you selling your kayak?
Okay, so I got a boat ordered. I think I've
Oh,
talked about it.
Done
before.
deal, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I don't know if the podcast has come out where I talked more about it yet or not.
I think
Well, I
we
mean-
mentioned it. I don't think you've like.
Originally, it was like a year or two ago when you were
Yeah.
with Short Rod. When you initially
You
talked
keep
about.
talking about. Yeah, we were talking about it.
That was
yeah.
a long time ago now, though.
Yes, so it's already ordered, and I think they've started the build. So any day now,
How long does it take to build a boat?
I have no idea.
Well, you're
Are
about
we
to find.
going to hear details of this?
Yeah,
Vessel?
so it's a Alumacraft 185, so 18 and a half feet long. It's a tiller,
Okay.
and I put in an order back in April, and part of the reason why it's taking 4 months now is because I wanted well, originally I was gonna go with a 17 and a half footer, and it was gonna be a 2023, and the guy said, well, all the 2023 17 and a half footers, they're all spoken for. He's like, if you go up to an 18 and a half foot, you get in a 2023 model. Well, yeah, I guess I'm not married to a 17 and a half footer.
You'll like that 18 and a half.
Yeah, and then people always say, like, you'll like that extra space.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then I was like, okay, yeah, I'll go for it. And then, so I think maybe he gave me like a month out, but I wanted all vinyl. And I don't know, I think he like misinterpreted what I said, because he emailed me and said, oh, hey, when you said all vinyl, I thought you meant just the cockpit, but you want like the whole thing vinyl, right? All the flooring. I was like, yeah. So he said it was going to take a little bit longer, so maybe another two.
So no carpeting at all?
No carpeting at all.
Why does it? Take,
Why? Because
Yeah.
cats or what?
Well, I just don't want to clean carpet.
Yeah,
Makes
cleanliness.
sense.
Yeah.
Stank.
What color is the vinyl going to be?
I think gray. I think it's a weave, like a vinyl weave.
Okay.
At least based on what I've seen on YouTube and stuff. But anyways, so that pushes it back another 2 weeks or so.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I don't know, they just got behind on production. Like, okay, there's pushed back another month. And then
Another month.
No more 2023s for 18.5 footers. I was like, okay. And then that's right around the time when a tree fell on my truck. So I wasn't too worried about it. I was like, okay, it kind of works out. And so I'm already looking at end of July. And then I get another email. Oh yeah, they're behind, blah blah. It's gonna, like, if you want carpet, you get one in, like, short time. Like, nope,
I'm sticking.
Yeah, he on like two of the delays. Like, well, if you want carpet, you can have it sooner. Like, nope, I'm sticking to my guns. But finally, they started the build, and I'm hoping within a couple weeks this will be the last podcast
We talked about not having the boat yet.
This is the last boatless
Podcast.
kit podcast. Hopefully.
Well, hey, no, let us know on the next time we talk how long it took from the day they said they built. I'm just curious how long it took them to build your boat, like from beginning to end.
Yeah.
What's it got for the horsepower on the back?
A 90 Merc. It's a tiller. Did I say tiller?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Why tiller? Why did you go tiller?
More room.
Okay.
More fishing room. Because that's the number one reason why I'm getting it.
Yeah.
Not saying you can't fish out of a boat with a console or a windshield, because people do it all the time. But I just want to maximize the space.
Are you throwing on a fancy troller and the electronics already too?
Well, that's the reason why I'm selling the kayak. That stuff ain't cheap. And it's got
No.
You're talking $5-7 depending on what you want.
Yeah, so I got to recoup some of that money, and then selling that Hobie it won't pay for all of it, but it'll be a good chunk of it, because I've already got the trolling motor.
You got the spot lock already?
Yeah, it's a Minn Kota Tarova, 80-pound.
Okay.
You
got the GPS puck?
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's got spot lock and the jog and all that stuff.
Yeah, this guy sent me the picture. I'm like, man, must be nice to be rich. He goes, no.
I tell you what.
I don't know about rich.
Regardless of what the price point is, that spot lock with the GPS and everything, worth every penny. I mean, when you talk about like game changer products and items, having that versus just like a foot controlled troller, just like a hand, night and day. I mean, having a good spot lock, regardless if you're in 20+ mile-an-hour winds, to sit on one spot, it's so nice.
Yeah,
nice.
I've been out on, going back to Jeff again, Backyard Bait Shop. I've been out with Jeff, I think 3 times in the past month, and he's got spot lock. He's got a 55-pound, but his boat's 16 foot, I think.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, it's like there's no way I can't get a boat and not be able to spot lock.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah, you gotta have it.
Especially when you fish on the lakes quite a bit.
Lakes.
Especially if you're going big with a new boat that's 18.5 foot, like, you might as well get the trolling motor to match it.
Yeah.
You
See,
know.
the thing is, Minn Kota just came out with their flagship trolling motor.
The Altera.
Either Altera or Ultrex. Well, they just came out with their brushless motors, and they updated some stuff. But brushless, that's the new big thing. And I saw that there was a Tarova version that's coming out too, and I emailed them like, okay, I'm about to buy this Tarova. Like, when is this new one coming out? Sure, it costs $1,000 more,
Oh yeah.
but it's brushless, and you get a little bit more pounds thrust for like the same lot of voltage. You get, I think, 90 pounds with the 24 volt versus the brushed version. It's 80 pounds with the 24 volt. But they told me October, November. Like, okay, I can't wait that long. So I've been looking at sales. I've been spending money, but I've been trying to. I don't know if it's smart is the right word for it, but I've been looking at sales. So this was on sale. I was like, okay, found it online. Hit up Shields. Will you guys price match this? They're like, yep, we'll price match it.
Nice.
Okay. And then I actually got another Garmin unit I picked up.
I was gonna ask you how many screens you're planning
What
on running.
what electronics are you running on this thing?
So I picked up another Garmin. I was gonna get another 9-inch Echo map because
Yep.
that's what I have now, and I wanted to put one in the back of the boat, one in the front, and then network them. So the thing is, the 9-inch is on sale at Bass Pro for $6.99, and the 10-inch is on sale for $9.99. Okay, $300 difference, right? I mean, that's still a lot of money, but if I got two 9-inches, then I gotta get a network hub, which costs more money.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of splits the difference with getting a 10-inch, and it's got two network ports, so I don't have to get that network hub. So I was like, you know what? Since this has two ports anyways, I'll get the bigger screen, and the difference was like $50.
Sure.
So
Man, your boat's gonna be freaking.
So you're gonna be running live scope on one and then like side imaging on the other one, or what is your plan with the multiple electronic devices?
probably live scope on both,
Okay.
and then probably side scan on one. Like if when I'm moving from spot to spot, I
Sure.
might have like 2D on one and then side scan on the other. And then I plan on having people with me while I'm fishing. So somebody in the front get live scope, somebody in the back gets live scope.
Come on, it's nice. I'm not gonna lie.
That is Jeff's setup in his
Yeah.
boat.
Yeah,
But
he's got the dual live scope in the front and the back.
well, he's got two screens.
Yeah.
One live scope, but
One
you know,
deucer, but it shows on both screens.
Yeah, it shows on both.
Nice.
But he's got 12-inch screens.
dude. It makes it's. I'm like, holy shit! This thing is
They're huge.
huge. It's dope.
Like I couldn't bite the bullet on another $600
Yeah.
for like 2 more inches.
Yeah.
But it's pretty sweet having a big ass screen. Even
Oh,
the
yeah.
10 compared to the 9,
It's
you'd be
ridiculous.
surprised.
Oh yeah. I felt like that whenever I was fishing like with my Panoptics or my live scope and I had a 7, you know, like the 73 versus the 93. You'd be out there with the 73 and you feel pretty good about yourself, and then you go to somebody fishing next to you that's had like a 93 and you're like, oh my god, I feel so inadequate.
Yeah, actually, I started with a 7-inch.
Yeah.
And then I fished with my buddy. He has a 9-inch. Oh my God, why does it look like 10 times bigger?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Makes a difference with those screens. 100%.
It does. And you know, I'm not a spring chicken anymore. And trying to look at that screen from, I don't know, 5 feet away,
Yeah.
it strains your eyes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. So I guess,
Sweet.
yeah, that's the setup.
That'd be awesome.
Black. The color is black on black. Just like my truck, black on black.
So hopefully,
It'll be
Hope-
hot in the summer.
dude. So hopefully, by the time before I actually pack and move, you should have your boat by then. Maybe.
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
So if you guys ever want, if
Kid
I'm,
just got another email popped
I
up.
don't know.
Like, oh, delay another month. Shit. But if it gets past my birthday, which is the beginning of September, then I might start getting really annoyed. Because then it's going to cut, you know, the season's getting shorter and shorter.
Because
Yeah.
you're hoping
Double axle trailer or single?
Single. Yeah. I don't know. People told me I should get a double just for peace of mind. Like if one of that, I don't know, what is it, hubs or axles goes out,
Sure.
I got another set I could, you know, limp by.
Right.
But I don't know.
Be pretty. This is your first boat.
My first boat,
Pretty sweet.
I'm diving into the deep end.
he's going all out on it. But that's all good, dude. That's,
Yeah,
it's
that'd be awesome.
Only one way to make it work.
Yeah.
How often do you think you're going to be on that boat next year? Once you have it all lined up, ready to rock and roll.
At least every weekend.
You think so?
I think so.
Okay.
I'm going to be
Fighting
taking
the crowds at Old Big Creek
No, I
for a
think
parking spot.
I think you're the type of guy who doesn't like that. So I think you're going to be fishing on the weekdays more than you will on the weekends.
I'll definitely be taking days off. Actually, that first week that I have it all rigged up and ready to go, I'm taking a week off of work.
Yeah, I would think so. Go out every day. Have
Yeah,
to.
probably.
Yeah.
If weather permitting. Well, for one, like Derek said, this is my first boat, so I gotta practice backing up the trailer. I gotta break it in still, cause it's brand new.
Don't forget the boat plug.
Yeah. I gotta get everything down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could this be the
That's
beginning?
exciting though.
Could this be the beginning of fishing kit guide service?
I mean,
He's mentioned that in the past.
it'll be the beginning of me having a boat and learning. So,
Get ready for some fun.
like, yeah, you ready to go out on a boat with the guy that's had a boat for like 2 weeks ever?
That'd be dope. Speaking of guide service, how are you doing with the guide service? How is the whole world of guide service in Central Iowa?
Yeah, no, it's been good for me. It's relatively consistent now, just because I think this is year 3 or so for guiding for me. So I kind of have the routines down. I kind of have the clientele down. I kind of have how I want to market things and this and that. You kind of learn as you get going. It's just a learning process. I mean, just like, as fishermen, I feel like we're always learning new techniques and new things to do. I think with guiding, it's the same thing. Who do you market to? What are you fishing for? And all these different things. And so I feel like I kind of found the sweet spot for that. And I have enough trips that keeps me happy, because I think one thing from the start of when I started guiding is I never wanted to do it, as I'm guiding all the time, because I feel like my worry with doing that is I was going to lose the love of fishing, and I'd lose the opportunity to fish for fun for myself or with my friends and stuff like that. And I never wanted it to become that. And so I've been able to maintain that to where I'm doing, maybe 2 to 3 trips a month or something like that. And so I'm still able to do the trips, have a great time, but still be able to fish for myself or my buddies. And that's exactly what I've wanted it to be. There's some new guiding that happens off and on all the time. And, I think everybody, when they first start, has good intentions. And I think there's a learning curve that goes with that. I've seen some people that have really taken off and done really well. And I've seen some headaches, and I think it's a double-edged sword. I think the people that are starting the guide service, you have to kind of know what you're getting into when you're doing that in Central Iowa, and what you might get for feedback and what people might say, and who you are as a person too. I mean, there's some different things that you can't control. Like, I'm not going to name names just for the sake of the podcast, but if you're a young angler just out of high school, and you're starting a new business, and people maybe don't know your name, and they don't really know much about you, you're maybe at a disadvantage than somebody that's maybe in their mid 40s, and maybe somebody knows their name and they're getting started. So there's some different avenues to it. You get a lot of outside noise, I think, regardless of who the guide is. I think there's people that want to question your integrity, your service, and how good you are at what you're doing. In terms of all that stuff, I think my viewpoint on that is, if you are providing a service and somebody is wanting to pay you for that service, why should somebody else care, right? Like, if I said, Kit, I want to pay you $100 to take me out and go catch wipers. If it's my money and I'm paying Kit, why should anybody else care what Kit's qualifications are, right? Like, that's between me and Kit. Mm-hmm. And if I'm cool with paying $100, I'm cool with paying $100. That's between me and him. I think the one thing I have, there's been a couple guys I've just got into guiding recently, and I know them personally. I've tried to give some feedback. My biggest thing for people doing it is to make sure you're protected and that you're safe financially. And what I mean by that is, especially when you bring in a boat, and I know some people scoff at the idea of fishing from shore, or fishing in waders and things like that. But guess what? There's way less liability. As soon as you throw in a boat, liability becomes huge. And so you just have to take in consideration whoever gets on your boat, what could happen on that boat. And so one thing that I do, regardless of the experience with the angler, and one thing I've been trying to tell some of the guys that have just now started to get into guiding, is don't ever take anything for granted in terms of safety. So we've done a lot of smallie fishing this summer. If we're throwing whopper ploppers or spinners or whatever it is we're throwing, smallies like to jump. They're very erratic. I am taking that fish off the hook. I'm netting that fish. I'm taking the fish off the hook. I don't care if you've got 20 years of fishing experience. The reason being is not because I don't trust you, but if you catch that fish on a whopper plopper You pick it up, and all of a sudden it throws it in your arm, and we bury that hook, and we got to go to the urgent care clinic. Guess who that person's coming back to ask to pay the medical bills? Me, right? Like, and I don't want to be on the hook for that. Not because I think the person is trying to, sue me or trying to get back at me. I just don't want to ever be in that position. And the same goes with I don't know if I just smelled popcorn. That smells really good.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I think he literally just walked out with popcorn.
Sidetrack. But like, say when you tie in the boat, if anybody gets on your boat, even if it's Grandy and he's paying you, I say, Grandy, throw a life jacket on while we're going, dude.
Yeah.
Because worst case scenario, something happens, Grandy falls out of the boat, Grandy drowns. Now you're on the hook for tons and tons of money that you never anticipated, right? And some of these guys are super young, and some of those things you just don't think about those things. But you don't want to ever have to think about those things. So protect yourself at the forefront. You kind of have to always assume, what if the worst thing that could happen does happen? How do I protect myself ahead of time? And that's just kind of the biggest thing I've been trying to help some of the guys that are doing some of this stuff now, trying to help them with that. And the one thing I will say, we don't have a ton of guides in the area per se, but I don't really have a problem with people guiding. And I think there's a lot of hate that kind of gets spewed, towards people about guiding and what their credentials are and whether they should or shouldn't be guiding and this and that. And is there some validity to that? Sure, but I think at the end of the day, if somebody is willing to pay somebody else to take them out fishing, then who cares? That's just my perspective, and of anybody else that guides, like I don't ever feel a competitive nature. I don't see it as like we're competing over the same lakes, waters, species, anything like that. It's like, hey, this is something you want to do, good for you, and go about it. Now, that might just be because I do it, as a part-time thing, and I'm not making my living off it. It's a little bit different if you go somewhere and this is your full-time, day-to-day, money maker. But I guess I encourage anybody that if they have that as a dream and as a goal to do it, but to do it the right way.
No, we haven't released the episode yet, but we talked about this. We touched the subject with Butters, because we did that episode. Was a couple weeks, several weeks ago when
about
it was
a month ago.
Yeah.
I think when we recorded it.
Yeah, and it was a big old hoopla. I was like, it was entertaining to me because speaking of popcorn, I was like eating popcorn, reading the 515 the fishing forum. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
I loved it. It was like. It was funny as hell to see the amount of people who chime in, and the reason I say that is because there's no repercussions for you typing something because nothing's going to ever happen to you. You can say whatever you want to say because this is the nature of social media nowadays. It was my thoughts work, and I said this on that podcast was, dude, the kid is young, super young. We don't have to name names, but he was super young, and I was actually pretty excited and proud that, you see a new generation trying to be entrepreneurs and create something and do something.
Yep.
In my eyes, and I said that in that last podcast, my thing, this was my viewpoint. Dude, if you guys have an issue with him or whatever, maybe help guide him.
Sure.
Like, maybe give him some pointers and tips versus criticizing him and literally, and I think he posts a couple more times, and he still posts, and I'm like, the amount, it's not even just haters, it's just the people who want him to do horrible.
Sure.
It's just like, what the hell kind of world we live in?
And it's a double.
You're wanting him to do horrible. I'm like, but the thing is, don't you? And then the same people are the same one who's like, this next generation sucks and lazy and blah. I'm like,
it's a double-edged sword because I think. The person you're talking about, I know him personally, and I actually had him at the high school I worked at. And I think anytime you're young, because we've all been there, you're emotional and you react.
Yes.
And so the one thing that I've really tried to, I don't want to use the mentor word, but I've tried to help is like, don't give people ammo. And when you react negatively or you blow up to react to a comment somebody makes, they know they're pushing your buttons, and then potential clients see how you react
Yep.
to that situation.
Very true. Very true.
And so it's been more about educating how to stay calm, cool, collected, thank people for their feedback, and move forward. At the same time, our page, just like any other page, has its members that the only purpose they serve on the page is to start shit.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's simple as that.
And I'm
Yes.
not going to name names, but I could tell you 5 or 6 of them right now. that
Grandy.
They don't say a single
Grandy.
thing.
Yes,
They don't say a single thing on the page unless it's negative.
The funny
And
thing is, I don't respond. I don't really, because like you said, I don't really feed the masses.
Sure.
I just enjoy the
yeah.
But my thoughts are, I have my viewpoints, but I think it's bullshit. I think,
Yeah.
like I said, if the kid is just trying to be an entrepreneur, in my eyes, and then on top of that, if you have experience in that field, or whatever the case may be, give constructive criticism or give him advice or help him out versus trying to just
Yeah.
break him down.
Well,
that's what I
the,
felt.
and that's the thing is the flip side to that is that guy that's trying to be a guide has to understand that there is going to be some feedback, and he's got to put his ego aside and actually read and listen to that feedback as well. Because there are guys that are trying to provide, good information, and you can't just always react. I'm angry, shut up, leave me alone, F you, stuff like that.
See, that was one of my points when we talked about, I was like, it's the internet.
Because you
You can't
do
react to everything.
Yeah, I mean, there is some real things there. I mean, do you have insurance? Are you credible? Why should I hire you? I mean, these are all legitimate
questions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
legitimate questions.
For sure.
And I think you have to, at the same time, I think it's really funny because sometimes people talk about guiding after they've had a really hot bite. And they've caught, they have a good week or two where they've caught a ton of fish, and they're feeling, feeling super proud and pumped up, and they're feeling like I'm going to go start guiding, and then all of a sudden, 2 or 3 weeks pass by, and all of a sudden the bite slowed down a lot, and they're like, man, this sucks. And I think the one thing, if you're ever seriously thinking about getting into that avenue, is you have to understand you will have trips that are slow. Like there's no way around it. I don't care who the guide is. There's always going to be days that are tough. I mean, it's a tough bite, tough weather pattern, the barometric pressures, whatever it is, you're going to have tough days. And so how do you make sure that the client still has a good time, right? Like if I'm not catching fish, how can I ensure that they still leave with a good experience? And I think that is the biggest X factor of, word of mouth and getting return customers. Because you can only control so much of how the fish cooperate with you. Like you can get on a pattern, you can pre-fish, you can do all these things, but when the day of the trip comes, you've already picked the spot, you already picked the species, you already picked the techniques, like you're doing what you're doing. Yeah. You can't just throw a curveball all of a sudden, and if it's a bad day, how are you going to keep them happy?
Yeah, it's still fishing at the end of the day.
Yeah. And we're still in central Iowa. Like you're not in the mecca of fish, and I know there's some great sticks out there that, can have more good days than bad days, but I guarantee anybody around here is still going to have tough days, and you're going to have a client that comes with you, and you're not going to have a ton of fish, or you're not going to have a big fish. And so how do you make sure that they still leave satisfied?
Right. That's why when you ask me, oh, you got a boat, you gonna start guiding now? I'm like, no. Like, I don't even know how to
But
I don't even know how to steer a tiller.
It puts a target on you in some ways, because now there's an expectation whether you like it or not, and you can try to talk to people all you want about this is the reality of what we're gonna go do. There's still an expectation. I spent my money on you, and we're we're going fishing. I hope we're having a good day.
So I don't know. Maybe if I get to a point where someday I'm confident or feel good enough about taking somebody's money and then taking them out fishing and hopefully putting them on fish.
And that's,
then I might.
And that's the other thing with guiding is like, what is your level of integrity? So I've had a lot of people love to catch walleye. Like that is the number one requested trip is to catch walleye.
In Iowa?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right.
And so that never stops. I mean, that happens in July, August, whatever. And I've had to talk people out of trips. And I could very easily say, oh, yeah, let's go. I'll take your money and we'll suck and we'll not catch much. And sweet, see you later. But I feel not good about taking somebody's money, after a shad hatch and I know the bite's going to suck for a walleye bite, like, hey, let's wait until this date, or let's try a different species, because I don't want to take your money, for something that I know could it happen? Yeah, it could always happen, but the percentages are not in our favor, right? And sometimes people are just so dead set. I'm like, I don't care. I want to go catch walleye. Okay, I mean, we'll go try, but I really want to give people the best opportunity we can to have a successful trip.
That's the benefit of you doing it part-time, that you're able to do that. Because a lot of people who do it for a living or full-time, they're like, I can't reschedule. I'm booking you this weekend.
Well, and that's their living, you know, so it
It
is bread on the table for them. For me, it's just like, hey, it's just a fun side gig that I get to do once in a while, and I get to meet people. And I've done, every time I talk, on a podcast, I've done something different, guiding that I haven't done before. And like my most recent thing is I have a guy that instead of a 4-hour or 8-hour trip, he wanted to it's almost like he wanted to subscribe to the guiding service. You almost look like you have a streaming service. So like every 2 weeks we would go out and do something. But it wouldn't be for a long time. Like an hour here, 2 hours here, an hour here. Hey, one night take me out to a river channel and show me how to kayak against current. The next night, hey, just sit down with me and talk through all my gear for walleye and baits and how to fish for them. The next time, hey, let's go out and let's actually try jigging. Just stuff like that. And that was something I've never had before. But I'm like, okay, hey, I'm up for whatever. So let's give it a try. And it's been a lot of fun. But something I've never thought about, promoting.
So what was that very first client? What was that trip like? Were you nervous?
Oh yeah, I think there's always, I think there's pressure no matter what when you're taking somebody out, especially when they're paying you. That adds an extra element to it. And so I think there's 2 layers of pressure. One is getting the fish, and 2, I think, is staying interactive with the client and being interested in who they are, why they're fishing, what they enjoy to do, like just staying engaged with them, because it's very easy to get in the mode of like, I'm fishing and I'm focused on finding fish and not talking to the client. And you don't want that. Like, you don't want it to be awkward silence and they're just waiting for something to happen. So it's a little bit of like, okay, I'm going to multitask and make sure I'm talking to them, asking them questions, make sure that if they have any questions they're asking me. That's the biggest thing I kind of push for people is like, when you go out with me, ask me questions, like ask why I'm using this line, ask why I'm using this bait, ask why we're doing all these things that we're doing, so I can educate you. Because my ultimate goal is after the trip that they can go out in the future and have success without me. Like they've got some spots, they've got some techniques, they kind of get the general idea that they don't have to hire me back if they don't want to. But yeah, the first trip, I was lucky in the fact that the guy I went with, I knew. And so that took off a little bit of extra, took off a little bit of the edge. It did start kind of slow, but I still felt fairly confident that we could catch some fish. And, after about maybe a half hour, we started getting into them, and it was awesome after that. So I think my first trip was about everything you could ask for in a first trip. It was fantastic. So
yeah,
I think I just got lucky in that regard. I would say if you're going to do it and you're going to do a first trip, whenever you start just to do your guide service, do it at the time that you're most confident you can get somebody on fish. Because you have to build a client base, right? Like
True.
When you first start a business, your initial thing is to get the word out and build a client base. Well, if you do it in the dead worst time of bite of whatever it is you're fishing for, it's going to be hard to build traction to get people to want to come back or to really promote you and say, yeah, I went out with Kit, but we caught a fish and it's 12 inches. It sucked. It's tough to build that. Whereas if you go out, even if it's easy fishing, it's something they wouldn't necessarily need a guide for. If they go out and they pay you and you get them on good fish and they're happy and they're high-fiving each other and they leave satisfied, that's how you spread that word of mouth and that business. And then they come back to you next year for the same trip.
Yeah,
for sure.
So,
just stuff to think about, I guess.
It's interesting. No, it makes sense though. What are you gonna take your first guide trip? You might as well be on a hot bite. That's kind of true. So you don't look like
Well, and I think the other thing is too is your model going to be one of where you do one thing, or you fish for one species year round, or do you vary? You know, what is your realm of services look like? Like, how diverse are you? Or are you like, hey, I'm walleyes, this is what I do. I'll take you out, we'll find the walleye bite, and that's what I am. You know, a lot of guides are very particular either to a lake or a species, and that's kind of what they stick with. I switch with the seasons and what the hot bite, the spawning bite, stuff like that is, just because I know my chances of success are higher with that. And being that it's Central Iowa, like I want to take people out for higher chances of success. The negative to that is most people want to fish for walleye and not catfish.
Walleyes all the time, right?
Yeah, it is. I mean, they love walleyes.
Speaking of the hot bite, so I mean, this is probably my last thing. Hot summer, humid as hell right now. It
Yep.
sucks.
Yep.
What are you guys? Because you two go out fish more than me. So, my last question, request, or recommendation would you give to someone like me? Like, I have a couple hours this coming up weekend. Where should I go? What should I fish for? What is biting in Central Iowa at the end of July and beginning of August? Is freaking 95. Humidity makes it feel like 105. Where do I go?
Go ahead, Kit.
What,
I'll follow up.
What should you fish for in the?
Right
I
now.
guess it'd be the dog days of summer right now.
Yeah, that's what I feel.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in the 100-degree temps right now.
Yes, sir.
Um,
As a shore fisherman,
As a
too.
shore
As a
fisherman?
shore, because I don't have a boat.
I mean, there's plenty of options like panfish,
Okay.
bluegills and stuff. That's always an option, and they're easy. You don't have to. You can basically go to any pond, throw out a crawler on a hook, throw out a piece of bread on a hook, and don't be above catfish either. Summertime, actually, the whole year is great for catfish, but bank fishing. Yeah, you just cast the line out on the lake. Odds are you'll probably get catfish. And then you do it at night, stay out of the sun. Mm-hmm. You could take it one step further, go fish for those bluegills, keep those bluegills, use them for bait later at night when you go catfishing.
Yeah.
And
cut bait or keep the bluegills alive?
well, if you want more bites, you better cut it up.
Okay.
You might catch bigger fish with the live bait, but you might not catch as many, or you might not catch any at all with the live bluegill.
Yeah, I would say right now it kind of depends on how sensitive you are to the heat and humidity in terms of what you want to do. If you really want to stay around the cooler times of the day and not out, midday and all that stuff, I would say get out at sunrise or sunset. You can still find some wipers, busting at different times and throw, top water spinners, stuff like that, just under the surface and catch some fish. Smallies have been good all summer. I'm a big proponent of if you're comfortable walking in the interior rivers, you stay cooler that way. Mm-hmm. You don't have to have waders. As long as you have a nice shoe to wear that you can step on some rocks and some sand and stuff like that you don't have a worry with getting dirty and being in the river. Mm-hmm. You can go fish for smallies from sunrise to sunset and stay cooler by being in the water. And, they're hitting anything from top water to spinners to fly baits and all kinds of stuff right now, jerk baits. And that's that's one of the more fun fish to catch is the smallmouth bass. You can go fish for flathead right now. If you're somebody that likes to be a night owl and get away from the heat, you go fish for flathead and knowing what flathead fishing is and that you're not going to catch a fish probably every night, but the potential of catching a trophy is there and the big fish. So there's a lot of options. It's more about how long do you want to be out, and do you want to be out when it's 100 degrees or do you want to be out when it's just 75? Because like to Kit's point for channel cats, they'll bite all day, regardless of how hot it is. It's just more how much are you willing to persevere in the heat? Because if you do the cut bait setup, I'm a believer that I switch spots about every 15, 20 minutes if nothing's happening. And as long as you're kind of staying on the move and staying looking for active fish, you can have, a lot of good days. If you're fishing a live fish, you're just limiting to either big channel cats or fishing some flathead spots.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah,
that's what I would do.
Another thing I noticed when I've been out these past couple of weeks are the shad. they're getting to like the 1 to 2 inch size, somewhere in there. And those, I feel like those are the ideal size for like white bass and wipers. You can find on the big lakes, big reservoirs that have shad, you can find schools and schools of them just swimming on the surface. I mean, they don't always have fish busting on them, but there's always the potential, especially if you're on the wind blown side where it's pushing all that bait up against the bank. Yeah, wherever the wind's going, well, for one, it'll keep you cooler because the wind's blowing in your face. And that's
If you have wind.
Yeah, if there is wind. If there is wind.
Iowa summers are a lot of times there's not wind.
Yeah, and then that's where all the bait's going, and then those predators shouldn't be too far behind.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
I got good ideas to go this weekend now.
I'm so ready for that boat.
I can see it in your eyes, dude.
I've been so patient, and now it's getting
Dude.
it's getting close to the day, and I'm getting super antsy.
I'm not gonna lie. I think I probably asked this guy more than he's probably like, dude, shut up. I know it's coming. I'm just as excited
I
as
want it
you are.
more
I
than
think.
you do.
I know you do, but I'm just as excited as him that he gets the boat because hopefully I can tell. Well, even though I'm moving, I'm still gonna tell the boss lady, I gotta go at least record an episode with Kit here and there, and then we might as well record on the boat. That's just my thoughts.
Like, yeah, you got to go visit your mom once a month or something.
Or maybe twice a month. Yeah, we'll see.
Now, do you have any experience backing down a trailer to this point?
I've done it a handful of times.
Okay. Feel pretty good about that?
One time I might like, oh, that was easy, and then the next time I'm like, whoa, I'm up there for like 10 minutes. So it's gonna be a learning experience.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna record all that. So my audience they're gonna learn with me. They're gonna watch me struggle.
They're gonna be like, dude, why are you doing that, man? No, don't do it this way. You're gonna get a lot of professors trying to teach you.
Yeah.
Well, that's where the editing magic comes in. I can make it look good. I don't have to show me back going back and forth 10 times.
I have to admit to a weakness of mine, which is backing a boat down. So growing up, never had a boat growing up, so I never had the experience of backing down a trailer or anything like that. And then me and my buddy actually bought a boat together, and we've used that for the longest time now. And he was always the back down guy, and I was always the launch guy, so I didn't really practice it much then because I was always sitting in the boat, launch it off, ready to rock. And so I know the first couple times I tried to back it down, it was one of those, it was a nightmare. And then like your anxiety just starts to get higher and higher and higher every time that you fail. And then you get frustrated and it just gets worse. Like it doesn't get better, it just gets worse. And especially if it's like, let's say on the weekend, or you're at like Sailorville, and then there's people waiting.
Yeah, there's people waiting.
And then all of a sudden you just like drive off, like I'm done, I give up. So I actually cheated the system, and my last 2 trucks have been Fords, not because I'm like a Ford fanboy or anything like that, but because they have a trailer assist system on there.
Well, yeah, you just turned the knob. My truck has it too.
Yeah, so you just turn this knob.
That helps quite a bit, huh?
Night and day.
You just point it where you want to go, right?
You just point
Okay.
it where you want the trailer to go, and the wheel spins on its own.
No way.
And you just control the brake. And so I look so awesome backing down a boat right now. Like I look like a pro. I could come from any angle and just go right in the water.
Yours truck has
Yeah,
that?
my truck has that. I drive a Ford now. For those people that don't know.
Yeah, but if you took that off, I would really struggle.
See, but the thing is, when I took out my brother-in-law's boat, I did not use that because I wanna. For me, I want to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Even if I might struggle.
You should have did it twice. Once with it and once without, so you can see, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess when I'm launching it, I could do it with, and then when I'm gonna, load up, I should do it without.
Just to see. And
The
then,
nice thing is you'll have a relatively large trailer, and the bigger the trailer, usually the easier it is for the control.
It is.
The small 14-foot boats, that's when they're always so wonky. They just every little move is just.
See, funnily enough, my buddy Ryan, he has a 16-foot boat, and his car is this little compact Jeep crossover thing.
Yeah.
And I think his is so easy to back
Really?
up. But I've hopped in short rod show.
Ben's.
He's got a monster boat,
like a
right?
20-foot
20.
boat.
Yeah.
Is that-
He's
it's
got
20,
a.
isn't it?
3,500 Chevy,
Yeah.
crew cab, 8-foot bed. It
Yep.
is it is one beefy setup.
Yeah.
And I was struggling with that.
Yeah.
That's
So
funny.
I've backed up a few trailers recently.
I'm excited, man. I can't wait for you to get your boat, dude, because I'm
be
excited
sweet.
to see more videos, new videos of fishing kit on a boat fishing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, hopefully when this podcast is out, I've already gotten it dialed in.
There you go. Actually, and like you said, when this podcast comes out, I don't know if I'm here or not, but
'Cause
don't worry.
This would be September, right?
I
This
think
one?
so.
Yep.
I think so. But don't worry, we will continuously record on a continuous basis. But all right, man. You got anything else for Derek, guy? Kit?
Would you ever get a boat? I mean, I know
Oh
you've
yeah.
had a boat.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So we have a 16-foot Sylvan right now. It's like a 1987 somewhere in there, and we've kind of rehauled it and everything, and it gets the job done. It's a nice little boat, and I like it. But like I do have dreams of the boat, as I like to call it.
Do you have an idea what the boat is?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's not so much about like the storage and all that. It's got to be at least 18 foot.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to have the best troller with spot lock, and it's got to have the best electronics. Like those are the key things. I know it's gonna have a live well. I know it's gonna have a bait well. Like stuff like that. Like those are all things that are just known things.
Yeah, those are kind of givens.
Yeah, but in terms of like a particular brand or anything, no. Like I know I want a V, stuff like that.
like a lake boat, something for lakes.
Yeah. But I'm not willing to settle until I've got the monetary backing to get the boat.
Yeah.
Debo.
So like that is kind of like just enjoy what we have for now until I have the finances or the inheritance or whatever comes my way to finally say it's time for the boat. And kind of like you're doing right now, like, hey, I'm all in. This is the one that I'm hoping to have for 20, 25 years. Because I don't want to have to keep doing the buy, sell kind of thing,
for
So,
sure.
but yeah, I just, what we got right now gets the job done and it works. I just don't want to upgrade until I know it's the right one. So, I do have a couple things I wanted to just mention real quickly.
Sure.
Caught a couple big smallies. Was that last weekend? So I finally pulled the trigger and I'm getting a fish done.
Oh,
Mount?
like mounted?
Mounted?
Replica.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. So I mean, you got the whole debate about live fish or replica. That's
Oh
a whole-
man, people will argue till they're blue in the face about
Well,
which one's better.
But
Go and listen to we actually did a podcast with Jimmy Lawrence, and he can explain to you the biggest difference between
Sure.
the replicas, the live. Just go listen to that podcast. I'll put it up here or in the description. You guys can hear about that one.
So for the same reason that we talked about earlier, I'm at a point in my fishing career and just in my life that I don't want to, I don't want to kill that fish, right, wrong, or indifferent. I just don't want to do that. And so I let it go, but I did want to get a replica, and I've wanted to get replicas for the longest time, but they're an investment, so I just haven't done it. Well, I finally pulled the trigger to do it, and it is an investment. I think for this 22-inch, just under 6-pound smallie is going to run me over $700. So
An Iowa Smalley?
Milox.
Relax. Oh.
Yeah, yep. Man, if it's Iowa smallie, that'd be
I know. I was like, man, that's a
monster.
Where'd you catch that?
Like a monster. But even now, I mean, that's a hell of a fish.
Yeah.
So I'm super stoked about it, and it's almost a 2.5 year turnaround. So that's one of the realities of it. But I just I'm pretty excited about that. I've never done it. I've thought about it forever, and finally pulling the trigger to get it done. And I think going the route that I'm going and doing the replica, I would say, and this goes for the live mounts to the skin mounts, but just like tattoos, if you have tattoos, like your money, like you get what you pay for, I guess is what I would say.
Very
right?
true.
If you're going to do this, don't skimp out on paying a cheaper rate. Like, do your research, look at different people that do different work, review their work, and invest in the memory that you want recreated for the rest of your life. So I'm actually going with the guy that's actually up in New York.
Wow.
Yeah, just because I've seen how much stuff he's done, and like I know we've got some local guys that can do it, but like my faith is really in this guy to say like I know what he will produce will be everything that I'm hoping it will be.
Yeah.
And there's not that like fingers crossed, because there's nothing worse. It's so sad. There's nothing worse than when somebody gets a mount back and they take a picture and they post it on social media to like celebrate it, and you know deep down in their heart that they're not happy with it, and all the comments is like nobody wants to be that guy to say
It's like, oof.
yeah, they don't want to be that guy to say something, but everybody's got thinking the same thing of like, ooh, that didn't turn out good,
Right.
or like I would like ask for my money back, because everybody's seen those mounts, where people get them back, and you've waited so long,
And
just
you paid a lot.
and you
of
paid a lot
money.
of just to have that heartbreak. Like I didn't want to go through that, so I'm like, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it top notch. And I mean, you can go into the whole skin mount replica thing, and to me, it was just more about maintaining this fish for 20, 30 years, and knowing that it's going to be the same 30 years from now as it was the day it shows up. So
For sure.
no, the only other thing I was going to just throw out there is just super pumped about the 515 fishing group and community, and supporting Sulo Atajic. I don't know if anybody knows him. He goes by Sam locally, but he had really bad third-degree burns. He was involved in a car fire here a few months back, and had pretty low chances of actually surviving that incident. And I think amongst local anglers, Sam's fairly well known. He catches a lot of walleyes, and a lot of nice walleyes, and we were able to raise over $1,100 for him to support him. And he's still in Iowa City right now, so just wanted to give him a shout out, and just give a shout out to the members of the group and the page for supporting him, and the auctions that we had to support him. So it's still a small community, and I know as anglers we're all still a brotherhood, and anytime we get a chance to support one another, I think we take that opportunity. So just something to be proud of, I think, is that. So I just wanted to give him a quick shout out.
For sure.
Yeah,
And
that was a pretty cool thing that you did on the group. And I saw that, Spencer, he put a guide trip up on there too.
Yeah, and that's awesome. Spencer is somebody that is kind of a YouTube sensation and a local celebrity, if you will. To have him,
I think he'd cringe at hearing that.
he's the Iowa fishing guy.
If he's listening,
he hates it when I
if
say
he's
that
listening
shit,
to
bro.
this, like on one of his road trips going to like Florida,
Freaking
like,
Granny,
oh,
shut up.
Man,
Yeah,
cringing.
I just
Yeah.
call him the Iowa fishing guy. He hates.
but it's the truth, though. I mean, it is. I mean, it is the truth, and that's credit to him and the following that he's built. But it does mean a lot when somebody like him will, reach out and say, hey, I'm willing to do this and give a trip out to somebody, and it makes a big difference, So
Is that still going on?
done now.
Oh, it's
Yep.
done now.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I wasn't sure if someone listened to this, like, oh, okay, how do I
Yeah.
get in?
No,
on
I
that?
think we had about 8 or 9 days of items, which once again just credit out to people to donating stuff for the auctions, because a lot of people, they're not getting any kickback on that. All the funds are going straight to Sam, and I know that it's not even making a dent in what those bills have got to be, because he's still in Iowa City and will be for some time. But just so he knows that we've got people out here that are still thinking about him and want to support him. So
For sure. And if our listeners, if you guys have not, make sure you guys do go check out on Facebook, 515 Fishing Group. Fun times.
You don't have to be from the 515.
You don't have
either.
to be. Yeah,
No,
you do
not at all.
have to be.
Not at all.
I'm pretty sure we have a few fellas or
Out of towners.
Out of towners.
Although
in
I
there.
will say that's another, when you talk about drama, that's another topic of conversation, is whether somebody catches a fish outside the 515 or not.
There we go.
And whether it should even be
I
on the
know.
page.
Right. Where in Iowa's that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Where'd you catch that salmon at in Iowa?
No. Go figure, man. No, social media, man. Gotta love it.
You guys don't have any fish made, do you? Do you have any reproductions or any
I
skin mounts or anything?
don't. I think the only fish I might is if I ever break a state record of some sorts,
sure.
or it wouldn't even be mine. It would probably be one of my kids if they caught something that was just like, holy cow! I got to get that one mounted. I don't think I would really mount anything unless, like I said, it's got to be a state record before I'd mount it.
Or there's got to be some crazy story behind it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that would be the only way I would ever mount anything. That's just me. I don't know.
Yeah, state record. I gotta agree with that one.
Shad.
Even if
you should have done it. You should have done it, man, dude.
Mounted shad.
I'll get the skin mount shad.
That would be the greatest mount ever. If you walk into his house and you see a mounted shad, you'd be like, "What?"
And have it chasing some minnows or something. Like
you're gonna have to ask him, like, okay, hold on. Yeah. What is up with this? And then
talking piece.
Exactly.
3 pound shad.
3 pound shad. Go figure.
Delicious.
Other than that, man, it's awesome. Anything else before call it a night?
I think that's all I got, man. I'm just looking forward to having the boat. Hopefully, by the time this comes out, I'll be out there vertical jigging on live scope, some wipers off of some river channel somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome, man. So there you guys go. Make sure you guys go check out, like I said, 515 Fishing Group on Facebook. We'll put all the links in the show notes and everything. Make sure you guys go check out Fishing Kit's YouTube channel. Get his ass up to. He still owes me donkey kicks too. I am not forgetting this shit. He still owes me 2 donkey kicks, but let's get him up to 4,000 subs. Because he passed the 3,000, like, no problem, bro.
Nice.
No problem.
Took a little bit, but yeah.
One last question.
What's up?
Are you still as motivated now to create content as you were when you first started?
Good question.
These past couple months, honestly, I would say no, because fishing's been terrible.
Because I mean, that's a question I have for guys that do this for a living, like Spencer, is like, how do you maintain? I mean, this is your source of revenue. Like in his case, like how do you maintain that motivation and just the material? You know, like when you do have tough days, to like, I gotta find a bite. I gotta get motivated to film. I gotta get motivated to edit and all the things that go with it. Like, how do you maintain that?
So, I mean, I'll just chime in on this one, and the reason being because was it yesterday or 2 days ago? I had my birthday and I was actually recording while I was fishing. I haven't recorded in a while. I still have a couple videos that I'm going to edit, once I get time to edit and release. I went through a funk in regards to doing the podcast and fishing and everything, just editing. You get burnt out.
Yeah.
However, I missed it. We're not doing it for a while. And then I went on my birthday. I didn't catch that many fish. And now I don't know when I'm going to release that video, but it was exciting. It was exciting because I caught the fish. I knew I caught the fish, and I was just talking, to the audience or whatever. And it was just kind of fun. It was funny. The shit I was talking about, like, that didn't work. It sucked. Yeah, you guys all saw that too, right? Yeah, exactly. And then I missed it. And, yeah, I think it's one of those things where you can get burnt out. I can see that. It happened to me. But I still like it. I still enjoy editing because when I go back when I was editing the shit, it's like, oh, man, that was funny. It's like, or that was just something I wanted to share. I was the only one who would have saw that if I didn't record it.
Yeah.
So, to me, I think it's once in a while it's okay to take a break. And it's okay to not release all the time, at least in my case. I'm just doing it for fun. Yeah. As much as I want to, be YouTube famous and make a living out of it, I pretty much know I'm not going to. But I do enjoy just the filming and just the fishing and just editing whenever I can. And not put so much stress on, I gotta get something out. Because for a while there I did, like, man, I gotta get something out, right? And then it just, to me, it made it not as fun.
Sure.
Yeah. So I guess technically I did take a break. Like I said, it's been a month since I edited a video.
Yeah.
So I've taken a break because, when I've been out fishing, bank fishing and stuff, it's been so slow. Fishing's been bad, and it's not, to me, worthy of making a video if I'm not catching anything.
Sure.
I don't want to watch a skunk video. I don't think my audience would want to watch it. I don't want to edit a skunk video.
Yeah.
And I've been going out on boats, like my brother-in-law's boat, a lot lately. And even then, I'll try to record when I'm with them, but it's like a different vibe with them. Like
Yeah.
my sister will be there, she'll catch it, and I'm like trying to record her. Hey, say something, please. She's like, nope, doesn't say anything. Like, okay, this is gonna be terrible.
Yeah.
And then my brother-in-law, he'll try to say stuff, but he's, not everybody's comfortable on a camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it might not make a good video, even though I recorded and I caught fish.
Yeah.
And I've been out with Jeff. I gotta respect him. Like I don't want to just go in there and start recording.
Sure.
He even asked me not to record.
Sure.
And I gotta respect that.
Yeah.
Because not everybody wants to give away their secrets.
Right. Especially if you're a guest on his
Yeah.
vessel
Sure,
and
for
stuff
sure.
like that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Even I think once he warmed up to the idea, he's like, yeah, just bring your stuff. You can record or whatever. And then we got out there. And he was like, "You gonna record today?" I was like, "I don't know." And then I told him I did bring my stuff because he said to bring it, but at that point I was like, you know what? I'll just fish and not think about it.
So
But now,
That's when he takes the boat to the dead lands of this lake, and we ain't catching shit today.
But now, since with the boat coming and stuff, there's a lot of new exciting stuff happening.
So
Yeah.
So there'll be, more chances for content, and
Just
for the
new-
most part, it'll be just me. I don't have to worry about, trying to record Derek. Like, hey, Derek, can you give some commentary while you're reeling in a fish?
But it's a new experience for your audience who's never really watched you on a boat fish too.
yeah, and then not
It's
a
just-
lot of
yeah.
people have the experience of what it's like, getting a boat, being a total newbie.
Yeah, and I would say I would advocate that you do some videos just about being a new boat owner.
Yeah.
Before you even go out and fish with it. Like, hey, this is what it's like
Yeah.
just to get the boat in the driveway,
sure.
and this is what it's like my first walkthrough to the boat. Here's some things that I've had for headaches. Just for the people that have never had a boat, just to have that side of it.
Yeah, because a lot of the guys on YouTube, at least from what I know, the guys that are always fishing out of boat, it's just like, just regular old whatever. Just
Yep.
get in the boat, catch a bunch of fish, go home.
Yep.
That's it.
Highlight reels is what I call those.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm watching the video and everything. All I see is just here's the fish I pulled, but I don't learn anything about it. Like, what did I get out of this other than just seeing a bunch of fish caught and making me want to go to that lake?
Yeah.
So
To answer your question though, just still have fun with it.
yeah,
At the end of the day, when we record content, just have fun with it, and then you just gotta look at it. At the end of the day, it's just, man, you're just there to catch fish.
yeah. It is awesome though to see like you get into the subscriber count that you are, and then other guys have just been grinding for a long time. And I know there's a lot of guys out there, but like Trevor, somebody I've watched for a while, and I know he's getting up there in some subscribers now, and just
Yeah, he's
He's
kind of
grinding.
flying.
yeah,
He's flying.
But that's awesome to see guys that have really stuck with it, and it's taken some time to take off, but to finally get that, I don't want to say break, but to finally break that threshold and kind of get that success and get those rewards, and it's just kind of that continuously embracing that work and stuff, because I'm sure I don't do it myself, but I'm sure there's times where you're doing content or video and it's just like, man, is it worth it? Like you said, am I still having fun? If I'm not having fun and I've got 5 subscribers, like should I still do this? And so I think it's just cool to see guys that kind of getting that recognition too. So
yeah, trust me, there's days where I'm like, man, I don't know about this.
They all have.
But
we
then,
all have them.
then
man.
you'll get like a cool comment,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
"Hey, man, I really like this video,
Dude, we got like 10 guys who listen to this podcast,
Yeah.
bro. Why the hell did me and Kit, we've been doing this for almost 3 years.
Yeah.
Why the hell do we keep doing this shit?
'Cause
We got 3 guys that listen to us.
because you get to talk fishing.
There,
Yeah.
exactly. I get to talk fishing and have a beer with my buddy.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
That's right.
So, no, it's we just keep doing this because
Oh,
it's fun.
podcast on the boat, we got to do it.
We'll do that. We'll do
Yeah,
that
we'll
coming
do
up.
that.
Yeah, I was
Well,
talking.
If I get it before you
Yeah.
move.
We might do that more often though. No, I might have to come back because you know what? I got to come and visit Kit because we got to record an episode on the boat.
Yeah,
I might just have to make it like a monthly deal.
we could like just drift for
Yes.
catfish, sit there and talk, and then
Exactly.
we might get interrupted when a
Yeah.
catfish
Yep.
hits.
I
And
think
people can see the takedown and everything.
exactly. I
Yeah.
think we're gonna do that more often once Fishing Kit gets. Yeah, we'll do our podcast on
That'd
the
be
boat.
a perfect intro with
sure.
a podcast on the boat.
100%. So, No, it was awesome, man. Appreciate you, Derek, coming out here. Like I
Yeah.
said, everybody go check out. We'll put everything on the show notes, the links. If you guys don't know by now, also, I did quit my full-time job. I sell sports cards for a living now. And
Nice.
insane. My wife said, you're an idiot, but it is what it is. We're moving to Colorado here soon. Stay tuned, guys.
So he's getting an influx of Broncos sports
It's
cards.
hell to the no. I do have a bunch of that shit I want to get rid of. Don't get me wrong. I always be a Chicago Bears fan, and
So you've
I
got some John Elways.
I do have a few of those ugly things, but it is what it is. But other than that, man, truly appreciate you guys listening this far. Like I said, don't forget, leave a review. Helps us tremendously. Make sure you guys check us out on YouTube. If you guys just listen to this on the podcast and everything, subscribe there. Videos available on Spotify and everything. So tell everybody else. Let's try to get us. I think our YouTube, we're at 200 and some subs. See, like I said, we've been doing this for like 3 years. Mostly you guys like just listen to us.
The YouTube channel wasn't always there, though.
That's true. Very true.
yeah.
But it's all good.
We
You can-
appreciate everybody that listens.
for sure.
Every subscriber counts.
Exactly, man. Other than that, man, till next time, guys, we shall be back hopefully within a couple weeks. Like I said, 2 episodes per month.
Maybe we'll be on the boat.
Possibly. All right, everybody. Till next time.